Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I've got Rob Skiba on the phone with me again today, and we're going to be talking about CERN today. Now, who's Rob Skiba? Well, we had him on yesterday. He is author of 2 books, creator, writer, producer, award-winning filmmaker, researcher, published author, artist, internationally recognized radio talk show and public speaker and teacher, and a Prophecy Club speaker. He's made 3 DVDs with the Prophecy Club: Mythology, UFOs, and the Coming Great Deception, Babel Rising, 322, Tetrads, and the Time of Jacob's Trouble, long title, and 2045, The Year Man Becomes Immortal. All of those available at Prophecy Club, valued at $90 for a gift of $50. But today, we're going to talk about CERN. Now, I made a DVD here a while back called Stargates, Wormholes, and the Bottomless Pit, and we're going to be discussing it. So, Rob, welcome back to the Prophecy Club.
Hey, Stan. Great to be back. Thank you.
Okay. So you've done research on CERN. I think it's a wormhole. I think it may open up the bottomless pit and let the beast from another dimension into this world. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree completely. Jesus said in Matthew 24:37, "As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man." And that begs the question, what was going on in the days of Noah? Now, everybody, when you say Noah, most people go, oh, Noah's Ark. Well, of course, that's what he's most famously known for. But when you realize the man lived for 950 years, 600 years before the flood and 350 years after the flood, that's a long period of time when you're talking about the days of Noah. And when you examine those days, you'll find that the 2 things that differentiate those days from any other time in human history are the creation of hybrids, which we talked about in the previous broadcast, and the creation of interdimensional portal, that being the Tower of Babel, whose top might reach into heaven. When you examine Genesis 11, it talks about them building this tower, and it says its top might reach into heaven, but it says something peculiar. It says it was built in the plains of Shinar. In other words, it's built in a valley. If your goal is to build a tall structure and you're trying to get into heaven, well, you don't start building in a plain. You don't start building in a valley. You find a really tall mountain, and you start building from the top of the mountain. I mean, that just makes sense, right? So it's not about height. God didn't freak out when we built the World Trade Centers or the big one in Dubai or the Sears Tower, and he's not concerned with height. That's not the issue.
I agree.
So something else has to be going on there. And so the fact they built it in the plain is very telling, and it says whose top might reach into heaven. I really believe that's sort of Moses' way of describing what we in our modern lingo might refer to as a wormhole or a Stargate. It had a portal device of some sort created to rend the veil, and we know that there is a veil, by the way, because we see situations like in the Old Testament where the prophet's there and the servant, is freaking out because the enemy's all around him, and the prophet prays and says, oh, Lord, just open his eyes. Help him to see what I see. And, the guy was able to peek into what we can't normally perceive and see the heavenly armies all around him. So there is a veil right now separating this physical 3-dimensional world and that of the spiritual realm. And Paul says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right, but against principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places. We see Daniel praying, and he's trying to get revelation, right, and his prayers are withheld. Why? Well, because the messenger was tied up with the Prince of Persia, the spiritual entity there, until Michael came in and freed him up, right?
Right.
So there is something going on just beyond our perception. And I think that what Nimrod had figured out, probably because I think he gained access to information from the pre-flood world that he may have found, and I think that that's also a reason why he went specifically to that location. I think he went back to a location that existed before the flood to rebuild something that may have existed there before. Whatever the case may be, if you read in what I call the biblically endorsed extra-biblical text of Joshua, I say that because the Bible refers to this extra-biblical text by name twice and is inferred in other places. So if you believe, as I do, that the Scriptures are divinely inspired by the Holy Spirit and written by men, then it appears to be an endorsement from the Holy Spirit that he told these authors, hey, go ahead and reference these other books. Well, whether or not we consider them Scripture is irrelevant to me. I don't have to go down that path. I mean, because truth can exist outside of Scripture. I took math in school, and it was true. It taught me truth, but it's not in the Bible. So if truth can exist, then, and it's endorsed by the Bible, well, let's take a look. And Joshua happens to go into tremendous detail telling you what Nimrod was trying to do. And he had 3 camps of people that were a part of this construction project. And when they completed the project, they had assignments. And one was to go in and assault heaven with bows and spears and take out the angels. One was to assault the throne room and kill God. And then they were supposed to set up their own gods, and I would presume Nimrod as king in the Holy of Holies. That's a pretty bold ambition. And what's interesting to me about the text of Genesis 11 is it says God went down and he saw what they were doing, and he said, now whatever they imagined to do would not be restrained from them. Now,
Amen.
I don't believe it's possible to kill God. That's not going to happen. However, the idea that they could assault heaven, apparently, if you read the text, is at least theoretically possible that they could have rent the veil and went from our world into that realm. And that's the reason for the confounding of the languages. When you look at what organizations like CERN are attempting to do, in fact, if people just Google CERN, look up CERN, C-E-R-N, and just do a Google and then click on images. And one of the first things you're going to see is a logo really kind of looks like 3 sixes stacked on top of each other, kind of spinning. You're likely to see the statue of Shiva, which is situated right outside the facility of CERN. And Shiva in Hindu mythology was the god of destruction.
And if you look behind it, it looks like a Stargate.
Yeah, Shiva is dancing inside of a hoop that looks like the Stargate, an opening.
Or a CERN. Or a Large Hadron Collider.
Yeah, I wrote a blog back in 2011 called Concerned with Saturn. And when you spell the word concern, I capitalize C-E-R-N as part of it. Concerned with Saturn, because we should be very concerned about what they're doing over there.
There's some people believe that the CERN may actually come from the word cernunos, which is a hybrid animal, which is a devil, a beast, okay? So if you look at just what they're saying this is going to be a portal, a wormhole, a Stargate, whatever you want to call it, a gate to open up the devil to allow him into this realm. Wow. That fits with prophecy.
Well, it sure does. And hear these guys talk, and they're talking about finding the Higgs boson molecule, particle, or whatever. They call it the God particle. You hear them say they're trying to recreate the conditions of the Big Bang. Look, I'm not an evolutionist. I do not come from an evolutionary mindset. But people who do come from an evolutionary mindset, i.e. the scientists of CERN, believe that the entire universe, everything that we can see, came as a result of a microscopic dot exploding and creating everything. So if that's your worldview, if you believe that everything created by the explosion of a microscopic dot, and you are out there saying that you want to recreate that, that can't be good for us. You know what I mean? In fact, I'm reminded of the movie.
Let me also say here that they now claim that they have found the Higgs boson. Okay, so my question would be then, all right, so if you found the Higgs boson at 50% power, what are you trying to do by turning it up to 100? If you've already achieved what you built the thing for, now what are you trying to do? Tell us the truth. Tell us what it really does. And why are you building another one twice as big in China?
That's a really good question. So there's several of these things around the world, actually, and more planned. In fact, there was one planned in Waxahachie, Texas. I think it was back in the 90s.
That's right.
That plane got
They stopped it, praise God.
This is just, maybe it's conspiracy theory, whatever, just my mind running rampant on me. Some of your audience may be aware of some of the things that I've done regarding Rockwall, Texas, the research out there, that it's called Rockwall, Texas, because a guy back in the 1800s was digging a foundation or something, and he hit a rock, and he kept digging, found out that there's a bunch of rocks on top of each other, kept digging, figured out it's a rock wall, kept digging, wow, it's a really big and long rock wall, hence the name Rockwall, Texas. But when they found an opening in that wall, they eventually went into this area. They apparently found a cauldron with human remains in it, so whatever was there was apparently a cannibal. And then they found a human skull, but that human skull was 3 times larger than yours and mine, which places the dude at about 15, 18 feet tall. So apparently this was a cannibalistic giant living in Rockwall, Texas. Of course, they put Lake Ray Hubbard over the evidence so nobody can go verify it. But I'm just wondering, because these hadron colliders and stuff are underground, I'm just wondering, it's pure speculation on my part, okay? So it could be totally off base. But I'm just wondering if they started planning things out underground, that they may have run into something and said, hey, you know what, maybe we shouldn't build it here. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. If you go to Isaiah chapter 13 in the Septuagint, the Septuagint version of Isaiah 13 is very telling. You can pick it up if you kind of know what you're looking for in the King James also, but if you look it up in the Septuagint, it's point blank. I mean, it's right in your face. It basically, I'm paraphrasing, but it says, "Speak to the gate, ye ruler, giants are coming, fulfill my wrath." So whatever is going on there, you've got a world leader appears to be in Babylon, saying something or doing something in front of a gate or portal. If you listen to these guys and what they are saying is happening as a result of their activities, they describe stuff like seeing portals opening and things on the other side. And so you have to wonder, like you said, if they've already achieved some of their objectives at 50%, what are they hoping to achieve at 100%? Here's the Septuagint, beginning in Isaiah 13, verse 1. And this is interesting, too, because Isaiah is the son of Amos, and Amos 2:9 describes the Amorites as tall as cedar trees. So Amos knew something about giants, right?
Right.
We see in Isaiah 13, verse 1, the vision which Isaiah, son of Amos, saw against Babylon. Lift up a standard on the mountain of the plain, plain, exalt the voice to them, beckon with the hand, open the gates, ye rulers. Verse 3, I give command and I bring them. Giants are coming to fulfill my wrath, rejoicing and at the same time insulting. Okay, that's the Septuagint version of Isaiah 13, verses 1 through 3. So we have a gate in a plane. Could that be a recreation of something in the plains of Shinar in Babylon? I don't know.
I think you're talking about CERN here, a modern version of Babylon, the Tower of Babel.
Could be. I mean, CERN's not in Babylon unless you think of Babylon as a system. And if you think of Babylon as a system, then it is, certainly within that. I happen to believe Isaiah 13 is talking about a location in Iraq, the plains of Shinar, being revisited, in my opinion. However, the fact that they are building these things in multiple locations, I think it's strategic. I haven't done any research to verify what I'm about to say, but it would not surprise me.
We'll be right back after this message. Jonathan Wright just made the brand new DVD called Prophecy in the Bible Codes. He has been researching Bible codes for 10 years, making code charts for 6 years. He's made over 500 code charts, and in this DVD he covers 60 of the best ones, such as the fall of America. Who are the two witnesses? Is Obama the Antichrist? Will there be a third world war? Will America be nuked and fall? Who is the Mahdi? Will there be a caliphate? What are the true origins of Islam? When does the rapture take place? What is the role of the Pope and the Vatican? Is the age of grace about to end? Who are the Illuminati? Will there be a third temple? It'll be 2 DVDs, roughly 5 hours of teaching, plus an extra CD, and the CD has a book on it that explains the codes, plus over 100 of the charts so you can look at them on your computer. Valued at $90, available through the Prophecy Club now for a gift of just $50. That's 2 DVDs and 1 CD for a gift of $50. Call 785-266-1112, 785-266-1112, or go to prophecyclub.com. That's Prophecy in the Bible Codes, 785-266-1112, or prophecyclub.com. Shocking heresy and blasphemy. Using over 100 video clips, you will see large, well-known ministers making shocking statements contrary to the Bible. So bad, you'll have to see it to believe it. See, some of most popular pastors seduce you with lying signs and wonders. Teach a false Christ. Yes, it is true. Your mouth will fall open. The worst sins of the Bible in these DVDs called Error in the Church. Nation-killing sins in America. You won't be disappointed. You'll be furious, beyond angry. I thank God that Leslie showed me these shocking errors, and I would never have known it or believed it if I had not actually seen it. Call today and give a $50 gift, and we will immediately ship you the first 3 DVDs. 30 days later, we'll charge your card for the second $50 gift, then send you the final 8 DVDs, totaling 11 DVDs. 30 days later, we'll charge the third $50 gift. 30 days later, the fourth and final $50 gift, making it easy for you to get this fantastic set of 11 DVDs. That is 4 monthly gifts of $50 each. Air in the Church, 13 topics, 11 DVDs, valued at $330. Get started today for a gift of just $50. Call 785-266-1112 and ask them for the Air in the Church offer. $50 donation gets you 3 DVDs heading your way today. Air in the Church, 785-266-1112. Air in the Church, 785-266-1112. Call today. And now, back to the program.
I think it's strategic. I haven't done any research to verify what I'm about to say, but it would not surprise me if these things happen to be on what they call ley lines. There are these lines, sort of like a grid that surrounds the Earth, where there are concentrations of energy and magnetic fields and things of that nature. So, and I don't know. Again, I don't know. But if these things are built on ley lines, that could be extremely interesting, because you'll notice that Jesus said, the gates, plural, of Hades will not prevail, right? When he's in Caesarea Philippi.
Very interesting.
It's Caesarea Philippi at the base of Mount Hermon. Even to this day, you can go there right now and go see it. There's a place there called the Gate of Hades. So when Jesus said that to his disciples, when, who do men say that I am? Some say, this, some say that. And Peter says, you are the Christ, Son of the living God. And he says, blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, but my Father in heaven. And he says this whole thing and says, and the gates of Hades will not prevail. Well, he's standing right in front of one of them, right there in Caesarea Philippi. And if you look into the Sumerian literature and the creation epics and stuff like that, you'll see that they had a concept of 7 gates of Hades, that each had a gatekeeper in the underworld. So there apparently are multiple gates on the planet that are portals to the abyss. One of them in Caesarea Philippi. Could another one be where CERN is located? Could another one be where this other one proposed in China is located? I don't know. All I know is the ancient literature says there are multiple gates. And the fact that there are multiple hadron colliders, super colliders being built, and they are seeing things open when they do run these things, somehow it's going to manifest. This appears to be the most likely candidate for making that happen, in my opinion.
Where do you come by this stuff, brother? I mean, I do a lot of research, but wow, this is really good.
Well, thank you. I got to give credit where credit is due. I say it all the time. I consider myself to be a researcher, and by that I mean I research that which has been searched by others before me. So, the first thing I did was research that which he searched. And I found that I came to a lot of the same conclusions he did when I did that, when I go down these paths. And it's sort of like these are the pair of glasses that he gave me. So I put those on. Then when I look at the news and when I look at ancient texts and I look at the Bible, that's what I'm seeing.
Okay, let me go back to the Large Hadron Collider, the LHC or CERN. It's housed in a 17-mile tunnel, 574 feet below ground. Now, I got to ask myself a question. Why 574 feet below ground? Why did they put it so deep? And the answer I have to come up with is because at one time they knew that if this thing is on top of the ground, somebody would be blowing the thing up. Somebody would be stopping them. What do you think?
That could be true. And if I was to go down that conspiracy path again, it could also be true that they were building on top of something that had pre-existed.
I mean, this thing cost $10 billion, 33 countries put it together, 10,000 scientists from 100 different countries, 608 universities, 113 nationalities. This is no accident. And they weren't just looking for the God particle. I think they knew all along they're building a Stargate.
Oh, I think so, too. You always hear the stuff about underground activity. Stuff is under there. You know what? I don't know. When you consider the flood buried a lot of stuff, well, it just makes sense. If the flood buried a lot of stuff, then there's a lot of stuff underground.
All right. One of the things that Lindsey Williams said is the elite consider themselves gentlemen, and they think it is unsportsmanlike to do something to the masses and not have told them or warned them. Now, if that's true, you've seen the movie, you saw Contact, all right? And you saw the ring spinning inside of the ring. And what was that? That was a Stargate. Then if you also saw the movie Hellboy, you saw a ring spinning inside of a ring, and out came a beast from another world. And we've all seen Stargate, SG-1, and that's a ring within a ring that spins around and allows them to access other worlds. So we have 3 different movies that essentially have a ring within a ring that is causing some kind of Stargate or a wormhole or access to some other world. So if we accept that, that's what it's saying. We can't get away from that.
Before I set pen to script, to write a script, you do a lot of research. And so it doesn't surprise me that a lot of these TV shows and movies may have basis in truth. And it gets real freaky when you realize how involved the CIA was in the production of SG-1, the movie and the television series that came after it. So, what do they know? I don't know. I don't know what they know, but they seem to all be kind of tapped into the same information. I got an email from a guy last night, as a matter of fact, who works at one of these colliders, not CERN, but he works at another one in France. He was telling me that he had applied to work at CERN, but they wouldn't accept him because he's part American. He says that they were only hiring people from Europe. I'm going, well, that's weird. I mean, why would if the guy has technical qualifications, why would they not hire him? And unless it's a politically correct thing, but I don't know. It just seems strange to me. What's the deal with that? And where am I going with that? Well, I'm going with the Aryan nation idea that Hitler was going with. Hitler had an objective, and he was really trying to bring back the gods of the old world. In fact, I believe he was trying to backwards engineer them through genetics and eugenics. If you look at what he was trying to do with, blonde hair, blue eyes, create the Ubermensch, he was looking for very specific traits that they considered to be the Superman. And they were creating these breeding programs to try to backwards engineer, I think, the gods.
Well, let me go on that because Revelation, I just pulled it up. Revelation 9:14 says that the 6th angel will loose 3 demons bound in the great river Euphrates. All right, then we also see that Revelation 11 talks about the 2 witnesses that prophesy, and then the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit kills them. Where's the bottomless pit? How did that creature get here? Now, in the old days, I used to think, the Bible does say there's a great crack that comes in the earth, and then locusts come out. Well, and I thought that was literally, physically a great crack in the earth, and it may be. Or it may be CERN.
Or CERN could be responsible for creating that crack. Maybe it's both.
Well, they're going to go to full power, next week?
I think this weekend. We need to pray against it. In fact, I'm just going to pray right now. Right now, Father, I just pray against all the plans of the enemy, that no weapon formed against us will prosper. And right now, we just declare confusion in the enemy's camp, and that anything that they try to do will backfire on themselves and not harm the innocent. I pray in Yeshua's name.
In Jesus' name, everybody agreed. Okay, you're right, brother. Okay. Well, we're running out of time. Let's talk about these DVDs, and obviously, before I get on to yours, I need to say, everybody, look, I got 2 DVDs. I got DNA, the Mark of the Beast, that is talking about this injection that will be associated with the Mark of the Beast. I've also got one, Stargates in the Bottomless Pit. However, we got 3 DVDs that we had Rob Skiba come in and make, and those 3, and I'll just touch on them real quickly, and then I want you to tell about some stuff you've got there. The first was Mythology UFOs, The Great Coming Deception. And it's talking about the origin of mythology and the gods, Sumerian, Egyptian, Greek pantheons, Great Coming Deception. Second one is Babylon Rising, 322 Tetrads, and the Time of Jacob's Trouble. The third one is 245, as in 2045, the year man becomes immortal, and that may very well be the middle of the tribulation when they introduce the Mark of the Beast and the injection associated with that. All 3 DVDs from Rob available for a gift, $90 value for a gift of $50. If you want to get the other DVDs, DNA and Mark of the Beast and Stargates, they're normally $30 each. You can have both of them today for $30. If you call today, 785-266-1112 or prophecyclub.com, but they won't have that gift offer on there. You got to call to get the gift offer, 785-266-1112. And, hey, we'll give you all 5 of the DVDs. Let me see. How about a gift of $60? But you got to call today, and they don't know about that on the internet. So you got to call 785-266-1112. 785-266-1112. Now, Rob, give them your website if they want to have more information from you.
Sure. BabylonRisingBooks.com. There's a whole lot of information there and access to my blog, too, where I've got a ton of information up there. BabylonRisingBlog.com. If you go there, you'll see in the main menu on the left-hand side, there's a link to one called Concerned with Saturn, if you're interested in reading more about that for free online.
Well, once again, Rob, thank you so much for being on. Have to have you back again soon. Love talking to you, brother. It's amazing how our hearts are knit together.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It was good talking with you as well.
I'm going to do something a little bit different to end this broadcast. I'm going to ask you to support the Prophecy Club. I should probably tell you that most of the finances that pays for all of the radio and all the other things that we have to do, surprisingly, does not come in from DVDs. We continue to put the DVDs out primarily because I believe there's going to be a time when you will not be able to access them through the internet. You will only have the actual disc. So I think it's very important for soul-winning purposes to continue to make DVDs. But that is not what supports us. What supports us is your generous gifts. And we, from time to time, do need you to stand with us. And matter of fact, how about on a monthly basis? So let me briefly tell you about our Partaker program. It is a program, we call them partakers, not partners, because when you give into a ministry, you also partake in the blessings that God will give to that ministry. So I'm asking you to call Prophecy Club and tell them that you want to be a regular monthly supporter. Again, we call them partakers. Not only do we need a donation today, but we need you to stand with us every month, month in, month out. So if you only occasionally listen to the Prophecy Club and it doesn't really affect your life, then I'm not talking to you. But if you are a regular listener, then would you prayerfully consider calling the Prophecy Club or going online and becoming a partaker? 785-266-1112 or prophecyclub.com. That's 785-266-1112. Tell them you want to become a monthly partaker, and they can explain to you all about how to do that. We do need your prayers. Nothing happens without prayers, but we also need your regular monthly support. Not just getting DVDs, not just prayer, but also regular monthly giving. Call 785-266-1112 or go online to prophecyclub.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your gifts of support. God bless.
We would not be here without your prayers and generous financial support.
Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. Jonathan Wright just made the brand new DVD called Prophecy in the Bible Codes. He has been researching Bible codes for 10 years, making code charts for 6 years. He's made over 500 code charts, and in this DVD he covers 60 of the best ones, such as the fall of America. Who are the two witnesses? Is Obama the Antichrist? Will there be a third world war? Will America be nuked and fall? Who is the Mahdi? Will there be a caliphate? What are the true origins of Islam? When does the rapture take place? What is the role of the Pope and the Vatican? Is the age of grace about to end? Who are the Illuminati? Will there be a third temple? It'll be 2 DVDs, roughly 5 hours of teaching, plus an extra CD, and the CD has a book on it that explains the codes, plus over 100 of the charts so you can look at them on your computer. Valued at $90, available through the Prophecy Club now for a gift of just $50. That's 2 DVDs and 1 CD for a gift of $50. Call 785-266-1112, 785-266-1112, or go to prophecyclub.com.